able to learn about government and enhance my writing in both classes, because sometimes government can be boring. So they were able to put life into both of them, and like I said, enhancing the writing skills and learning more about government.
Best thing was that whenever I would go to one class, I would already know what the other class was about, and it was just, I liked how they both connected, because I learned a lot of things from both of the classes put together, you know. So in the writing class, I would learn from the government class, and the government class, I would learn from the writing class, and that was actually very, very helpful.
The best thing about taking both classes is that in the development class, they helped you to comprehend more of the material that in the government class they had given you in the class before.
I would say getting help in our developmental class, like some things I wouldn't understand in government, but in our developmental class, she would like go over it, so that would help me too.
However, like it really kind of just helps when you have like a developmental writing teacher, because like she can go through it and correct your paper for you.
And it was easier to comprehend.
The Cornell notes really helped me out. It kept me on track, and I have all my notes everywhere.
Say them breaking it down, because like it was some stuff in government I didn't understand. So that one-on-one experience with both actually helped me to understand, like, okay, this is our government, this is how they regulate stuff, this is how they do things, as well as, okay, this is how you're supposed to format your paper, this is how you're supposed to write, this is how you break it down, this is how you do your outline, this is how you, if you can't think of nothing, this is what you're supposed to do. So them being able to collaborate.
The best thing about taking the government class and development class was I could understand better the government class, because when we learned something new in my government class, maybe I didn't understand very well, but when I go to my development class, I could like do activities like listening to podcast about it, and I could understand better.
I learned so much about them. I didn't think that the government class had so much to take notes on, and with the developmental class, in being together with it, I learned so much how to take better notes. I learned how to write better, even though I thought I did. There were so many mistakes that I learned along the way, and throughout the time that I was learning, and I had Miss Gonzalez always like right here, telling me every little mistake that I made. And
you know, if we had a question, also she would go through it with us. If we needed to speak with her after class, she made the time to talk to us.
Like she would explain, like first Miss Brown would explain our topics, and then we would go to English, and she would break it down more, and we would do like assignments and everything so we can understand it for a test.
Taking the class together, it helped me because in government class we wouldn't finish all the work, so she would give us time in our development class to finish it, so that helped me a lot because I do have a job too, so yeah, it helped me with it.
I think after this whole semester I learned so much about how to be a better writer.
A lot of writing. It was like, okay, so we had the podcast, then we had our paper due, and then the next day we had another podcast. So it's like if you didn't do that first podcast, you had to catch up. So it was a lot of writing, but it was, it was fun.
We would always turn in the notes to Ms. Gonzalez, so she would check if they're on Cornell, and then if we actually took down really good notes and not just faked it, So I think that was a good thing, and it helped me to learn about the laws that we have and the rights that we have, and how to use that on a daily basis.
We work together. Whatever we work on government, we work on my reading class, my writing class, Basically, I find it easy for me, in which I can refresh my memory of what we talk from one class, and we're gonna talk it in this class. So we put it together.
In the developmental class, a more condensed version of what we're working on in the government class, or a more in-depth version. So that way it would make everything a lot easier to write about, especially when it came when we were talking about the amendments. It was easier to learn them, it was easier to remember them from when I had to remember them in middle school. So it was easier to remember them, instead of Miss Brown would just, she would tell us all of the amendments and we would take note of them, study them. But when we got to the developmental class, we would have to write about why this was doing this, or even with the Second Amendment, we had to do a lot of podcasts on the NRA. So those things like that incorporated much with the government class, and it gave us great writing to do for her so she could read it.
Getting information from my government class, bringing it to my writing class, put it together on a recipe.
The best thing was that how both teachers explained their points of view, and how everything was easier by classwork and understanding the topics more for the tests and everything. So I felt like it was better for me to take both classes together.
One of the important things that I liked about class was that we always stayed informed about, we learned about a lot of things that usually helped us in the real world. Learning a lot about how the government works, or criminal justice works, how overall the country is run, and it helped me have a better perspective to how the country runs and everything, what things to do and what not to do in the real world. And I feel like the classes really helped us be prepared, not just in class, but also be prepared on the outside.
The best part about taking the developmental class and government class together was the simple fact that anything you did in the other class, it benefited you in the other. So if you do enhancements in the developmental class, which is mainly the podcast, or basically something that we would be working on, you could turn it into the government class for enhancements, and the enhancements are 5 points a piece, and you can upload however many you'd like. So that was we do podcasts probably every day, so that was a really good thing to, if you felt like you were falling, then you would pick yourself back up in the government class just by doing enhancements in one class. So you're not just doing separate work for one class, you're doing literally two things together, even though if you're working on something different in your government.
And with the government class being with it, they usually talked about both topics, and it helped me understand government a little bit more, because Miss Gonzalez would break it down to little bits, and it would just help.
I say go for it. It's really good. You learn a lot of things put together, and the best thing is also you get online assignments. They give you a certain due date. That was very, very helpful. The moment that you could be able to do it, you go back and do it. The teachers are very helpful. They take the time to help you out when you have a question. They stay after class with you and everything. So it's a great class, both of them.
On top of your work, that's the best thing. Even if you feel like you don't understand, still try to do it. Still try to put some effort into it, because you never know, you could be right, and you just probably need some help in different areas of the writing portion or the government portion. So if you put that effort into it, then if you come 50%, they'll come 50%. Even if you put in at least 35%, they're going to come the rest of the way and try to make you or help you understand whatever it is you're not understanding.
I will advise a student who is thinking about taking this type of course to take it, because it help you a lot. Because while you are taking a college class, you are learning in your development class, and that help you a lot, and to improve in your college class.
I think the best advice I would give them is to just try to manage your time and make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, because these classes are no joke, and I think you should just put your effort into them because you're going to learn so much, especially from both becoming a better writer and knowing more knowledge about on how the laws work, and yeah, just to make time for both.
To understand more things, so you won't have feel alone that you can't do it by yourself.
So if you just do things in the timely manner, then it makes it a lot easier on you to do the paper and the pocket.
Very challenging, and then getting to class also. Well, after I started working, it was a little bit more challenging to come. Sometimes I would make it, sometimes I wouldn't, and my daughter too, which was a little bit more challenging, but I hope I make it.
The biggest challenge for me was to take the time. Time was essential. Time was sometimes not on my side, because these two classes, they pushed me to limits that I did not know that I had, and I had to make time for both. And especially Ms. Gonzalez's class, to me it was really hard. It was really difficult, but I'm still here, even though I'm barely getting here. And it was just being so responsible, learning how to micromanage my time into having the time to do the assignments for each class. And especially her class. Her class was really difficult, but most of all, it was just the time. Having the time to actually put the effort in both
The
classes.
biggest challenge was to maintain a good grade on both classes.
It's a good way to get all your college.
I would say that you kill 3 birds with 1 stone with this course, because you can get your writing up good. It's good to take if you are not really sure about how you're writing and you're a writing major, which is me. You can also get your government class out of the way early, and you don't have to worry about it later because you're taking 2 things at one time. And then you could also get your just your developmental credit out of the way, just so when you do enter your writing class, you actually have all the experience that you need, because the developmental writing teacher helped you. And then for your government class, you don't have to even worry about taking that later on in the semester, because you already took it with your developmental class. So you got 3 things that you can just do immediately with just 2 classes.